I'd like to call to order a special meeting of the Avalon City Council, May 3rd. And Denise, the roll call, please.
Councilmember Cassidy.
Here.
Councilmember Hernandez.
Here.
Councilmember Sampson.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Wilson.
Here.
Mayor Marshall.
Here. Are there any announcements or written communications?
None for me, Your Honor.
Okay. Oral communications. This is an opportunity from people in the audience to speak on an item that is not on the agenda, and you shall be limited to 3 minutes. Not on the agenda?
Not on the agenda.
Okay.
Just real quick. I was hoping to actually speak last night on this issue to kind of give you a little bit of an update, but I was so confused by the end of the dog conversation, I forgot everything I was going to say. So I wanted to give you an update on the THIPA issue, Torrance Hospital Independent Physician Association, and our contract negotiations, and I really appreciate the pressure that leadership within the city has put onto THIPA so that they would begin having conversations with us. We did have another conversation with them with the contract that is utilized primarily by Island Company, Conservancy, and city employees. Currently, our estimate is that the contract that was signed about 3 years ago and was a poorly negotiated contract, it reimburses us about 13 cents on the dollar, which no business would ever be able to survive on that kind of reimbursement. We've had conversations with Chris, and he has offered what we estimate to be about 26 cents on the dollar, still far lower than what our cost of providing care is, which is about 38 cents on the dollar. And so we're looking for a place of compromise where we can get above that 38 cents on the dollar. THIPA is an insurance organization that is owned by Torrance Hospital, and it is purely used for they own it so that they can refer all the patients to their ancillary services and to their hospital. It is I have no knowledge of this, but I look at their website, and everything that, where you can get care only mentions Torrance Hospital and their ancillary services. And so why they provide this insurance to a community that is on an island that it's going to take more than 2 hours to go and get care from their organization makes absolutely no sense to me. I don't see the improved quality of care when you don't have access to care within your own community. But it's been 6 days since I have made another proposition to Torrance, to THIPA, and I still have not received word from them. If I do not receive word from them in a short matter of time, we are most likely going to cancel the contract with THIPA. Does that mean that city employees won't be able to receive care at our hospital? That is not true. But because what we would then be classified as a non-participating hospital, which is, they also call it non-par, what would most likely happen is employees would have to pay a higher copay when they are seen at our hospital as compared to Torrance Memorial Hospital. We want to serve the community. We want to have compromise with THIPA, but we want to be treated fairly. And the only reason why, in my opinion, THIPA probably contracts with organizations that have employees here on the island is that they've done the analysis. They know that rural individuals utilize healthcare less than urban individuals, and so it's a far more profitable segment of business than what they're currently doing over town. Thank you.
So more to come on THIPA.
More to come. And the other thing is if we do cancel the contract, it will, our current contract, we can cancel for any reason, but there is a time period of about 180 days before it's really canceled. It's just we give notification, then we have 180 days. At that period of time, still everybody's covered, and we will educate the community. We'll educate the individuals that are covered by THIPA on the island as to what to do and how the whole thing will work, but we will continue to take care of our community regardless whether we have a contract with the insurance company.
Well, I don't know if the Conservancy folk and the Island Company folk are as naive as I was. I didn't even know the city was in THIPA, and that the service, I mean, and it was Torrance Memorial related, and I don't know what percentage of people we ship over to Long Beach Memorial or St. Mary's versus Torrance that are in that plan. And I don't know if that
our
makes
contract states that we have to make all efforts to send, when we ship somebody from the hospital on the helicopter, all efforts to send the person to Torrance Memorial.
Okay.
And so if we ship somebody to UCI or we ship somebody, it's because we're having difficulty getting that individual into Torrance Memorial.
Okay. All right. Cool. I didn't know that.
Is there anything more we can do to help at this point, or is it just a waiting game?
It's just a waiting game at this
Okay.
point.
Okay.
But thank you for your help and support.
You're welcome.
Mayor, if I may, I know that Mr. Perret and I, we've had this conversation a few weeks ago. I thought maybe the state insurance commissioner would be of some assistance. I learned from a conversation with their reps that they don't handle managed care. And as Mr. Perret and I just discussed again this morning, they referred me over to the State Department of Public Health. And if there's ways that with the managed care unit there that we can be of assistance, because it's what Mr. Perret defines is totally ridiculous and unfair to our hospital and to our community. So anything we can do, he knows that we will certainly be supportive in that regard.
Good. Thank you. Okay. There's nothing on the consent calendar. General business.
Well, thank you, Mayor. This morning, thank you for holding this special meeting. We are asking that you review and consider a request to provide funding to Catalina Island Medical Center for immediate capital and operational needs. We are recommending that you provide assistance in the form of a $340,000 line of credit to the center for immediate capital and operational needs. That's what I just said. The line of credit would be for up to 5 years, and that length could be evaluated at 2% interest with annual payments equal only to interest. This, coming in the middle of a fiscal year, normally what we would say to you is, gee, we hadn't planned for this, but the good part of this whole thing is that you had already budgeted in the 2016-17 fiscal year funds in that amount of $340,000 for assistance in purchasing a generator for the hospital. The hospital, in its creative way, found other ways to do that. So the money that's already budgeted in the budget is available for this purpose, which I would argue is a higher need at this time purpose. And so we would ask your approval to reprogram those funds for that purpose, as described by Mr. Mesher in his report, and as has been outlined to us by Mr. Perret in conversations previously.
Thank you. Well, does anybody want to explain to me from a fiscal standpoint? The line of credit would be up for 5 years at 2% interest with annual payments equal to interest only. What does that mean?
Well, that's my recommendation, but it can be structured however you like. What I'm proposing would be a line of credit of $340,000, so they wouldn't have to use the total $340,000. They would use it as needed, and the interest would be calculated based on a 2% interest rate. That can be a different interest rate if you want. The annual payments that they would need to make would be based on interest only. And
Now that's where I'm confused.
Whatever they draw down, that's what they'll pay interest on.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay.
so if they borrowed $100, they would pay $2. Over a 1 year period, they would pay $2 interest for every $100.
Thank you for simplifying that. But I guess the question is it ever repaid?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm proposing that would be
After 5 years.
repaid within 5 years, or
Repaid
when it's no
within
longer
5
needed.
years.
Madam Mayor, may I just add a comment here? When this issue first arose recently, it was of concern to me, an impression I had that fortunately proved to be wrong, I was wondering, well, where is our U.S. Bank and providing a line of credit, which they have historically provided to the hospital. And I was very pleased to talk to Carl Jacobs, their regional president, about this after this was brought to our attention. And I found in a subsequent conversation that Mr. Mesher and I had with Mr. Perret and the bank that they are working with the hospital. Carl Jacobs said that they care a great deal about the island and about the city and about the hospital, and that they are doing everything that they can to increase the line of credit back to where it has been historically. The model, my understanding is the model that the hospital is using is different because, as Jason has told you in reports recently and other times, that services are not always reimbursed. As with THIPA, they're not always reimbursed at the cost to provide the service. But what this model that the management and the board hospital has come up with, it looks at other ways to regain or to create a profit center, I would call it, and offset those costs of services. And so this model, and the bank said this as well, it looks like a good model, and it's a way over time that the hospital can be sustainable without the need to draw down on other resources. So new management is making has a new model that looks very good from what information they provided to us to make the hospital sustainable, and that's why we're very encouraged and supportive of this request.
Great.
Want a motion?
Before a motion, how does this sound to the hospital, this arrangement here?
We're very appreciative.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Move staff.
I'll second.
Further discussion? Call for the vote. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I screwed up. Can we do this again? Okay. Boy, you freaked out, didn't you? Call for the vote.
Look again.
I did. All eyes. Like 4 times.
If there's no further business, meeting adjourned.
Thank you, Mayor and Council.
Thank you.